Hey, everybody, and welcome back to For the Booze.
For the Booze.
That's right. That's
same,
us.
Same way every time.
I like it.
We are back for another week, and we're going to do one that is more well-known this week.
Yes.
And this one I've actually seen in person. I've never been in, but I actually have seen it.
I've seen it too.
Oh, that's right. You did see it, didn't you?
Yes,
That's
I
right. We drove right by it.
Oh,
This is anybody who lives in the Northeast, New England. Everybody's heard of it.
yeah.
I don't think anybody hasn't heard of it. So it's maybe it's possibly one of the most famous, just because there's like almost like a celebrity status to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be, do we have anything else we need to talk about at all? Maybe the fact that we finally figured out how to work making videos.
Maybe that. Yeah.
You know? So be on the lookout, because we are actually going to start recording videos this weekend.
Yeah. We think we put it together, and we kind of got it. We're going to start messing with it this week.
I'm really hinging on the idea that I'm just going to be able to edit this. I haven't even tried. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you figured this out, so I got faith in you.
Yeah. I've come this far so far, so we'll see what happens. But this week we're heading up to Fall River, Massachusetts, the dirty Riv. And if you're from the area, you've heard that before.
It really is
the dirty Riv. And we're gonna be talking about one of the most famous houses in America, because it's been all over TV and YouTube, and we are going to be talking about
the Lizzie Borden House.
That's right, the Lizzie Borden House. I can't imagine anybody out there who listens to this show, has an interest in the paranormal, has ever watched something on TV, doesn't know this.
Yeah.
There's just
Agreed.
no way.
I know.
This
it's
is
too big.
It is just such a famous location for multiple reasons. And I can't stress it enough, like the nursery rhyme, because there's a nursery rhyme that goes along with this, right? Mm-hmm. And I just thought everybody knew it.
No.
But come to find out, I guess this is something that's pretty indicative of like you being from the area. I'm not saying that like we're the only people who know it. I'm sure other people know it, but
honestly, I didn't know it until I think, saw it on a video one time, and you were like, yeah, you don't know that? And I was like, what?
I have heard this nursery rhyme since I was a kid.
That's so crazy.
Since I was a little kid, and I just thought it was something. I remember spouting this nursery rhyme off when I was like 8. You know, like,
wow.
I've known it my whole life. And I really just thought it was another nursery rhyme. To be honest, I don't think I ever really knew that Lizzie Borden was a real person until I was older.
Right.
Like, it was just a nursery rhyme. It's kind of like if you said old Mother Hubbard lived in a cupboard, and then 40 years later you found out, oh, no, she was real, and this is her house. You know, so it's, it's just one of those things, I guess. But we're going to be doing Lizzie Borden House.
It's so crazy.
What do you say we get into it?
All right. I say, let's do it.
Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. And when she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
The Lizzie Borden murder case is one of the most famous in American criminal history. New England's major crime of the Gilded Age, its barbarity, captivated the national press, and the suspected killer was immortalized by an eerie rhyme passed down through generations. While the public largely believes that Borden committed the murders, the rhyme is not quite correct. The female victim was Borden's stepmother, and the weapon wasn't an axe, but rather a hatchet, a smaller, lighter tool. Also, the killer struck the victims around half as many times as stated in the rhyme. 19 blows rained down on 64-year-old Abby Borden. and 10 or 11 rendered the face of Lizzie Borden's 69-year-old father, Andrew Borden, unrecognizable. Still, the rhyme does accurately record the sequence of the murders, which took place about an hour and a half apart on the morning of August 4th, 1892, in the Fall River, Massachusetts home at 230 2nd Street. A key piece in the puzzle of the Borden murders is the societal identity of Fall River, a textile mill town 50 miles south of Boston. Fall River was rocked not only by the sheer brutality of the crime, but also by the identity of its victims. Cultural, religious, class, ethnic, and gender divisions in the town shaped debates over Borden's guilt or innocence, drawing the whole country into the case.
In the early hours of August 4th, after the discovery of the bodies, the public only knew that the assassin had struck the victims in broad daylight at their home on a busy street, 1 block from the town's business district. There was no evident motive like robbery or sexual assault. Neighbors and passers-by heard nothing. No one saw a suspect enter or leave the Borden property. Moreover, Andrew was no ordinary citizen. Like other Fall River Bordens, he possessed wealth and standing. He had invested in mills, banks, and real estate, but Andrew had never made a show of his good fortune. He lived on the unfashionable 2nd Street in a modest house, now a spooky bed and breakfast, instead of on the hill, Fall River's lofty, leafy, silk-stocking enclave. Borden, a 32-year-old who lived at home, longed to reside on the hill. She knew her father could afford to move away from a neighborhood increasingly dominated by Catholic immigrants. Police initially considered the killings the work of a man, probably a foreigner. Within a few hours of the murders, they arrested a suspect, an innocent Portuguese immigrant from the town's new influx of European workers. Borden had absorbed elements of the city's rampant nativism. On the day of the murders, she claimed that she'd come into the house from the barn and discovered her father's body. She yelled for the Borden's 26-year-old Irish servant, Bridget Maggie Sullivan, who was resting in her third-floor room. She told Sullivan she needed a doctor and sent the servant across the street to the family physician's house. He was not home. Borden then told Sullivan to get a friend down the street. Yet Borden never sent the servant to the Irish immigrant doctor who lived right next door. He had an impressive educational background and served as Fall River's city physician. Nor did Borden seek the help of a French-Canadian doctor who lived diagonally behind the Bordens. Only a Yankee doctor would do. These same divisions helped keep Borden off the suspect list at first. She was, after all, a Sunday school teacher at her wealthy Central Congregational Church. Members of her social class didn't think a person like Borden would slaughter her parents. But during the interrogation, Borden's answers to different police officers shifted, and her inability to summon a single tear aroused police suspicion. Then, an officer discovered that Borden had tried to purchase deadly prussic acid from a nearby drugstore a day before the murders.
Another piece of the story is how, as Fall River's immigrant population surged, more Irishmen turned to policing. On the day of the murders, Irish police were among the dozen or so who took control of the victim's house and property. Some interviewed Borden. One even interrogated her in her bedroom. Borden was not used to being held to account by people she considered beneath her. The case quickly became a flashpoint in an Irish insurgency in the city. The shifting composition of the police force, combined with the election of the city's second Irish mayor, John W. Coughlin, were all pieces of a challenge to native-born control. Coughlin's newspaper, the Fall River Globe, was a militant, working-class Irish daily that assailed mill owners. Soon after the murders, it focused its class combativeness on Borden's guilt. Among other reports, it promoted rumors that Borden's family members on the Hill were pooling millions of dollars to ensure she would never be convicted. The Hills House organ, the Fall River Evening News, defended Borden's innocence.
Lizzie was arrested and tried for both murders in June 1893, but was acquitted. Given the circumstantial evidence, she was nonetheless ostracized thereafter by the people of her native Fall River, Massachusetts, where she continued to live until her death in 1927. The grisly murders inspired a great many books, both serious studies and fiction. Fall River Legend, 1948, a ballad by Agnes D. Mill. An opera, Lizzie Borden, 1965, by Jack Beeson and Kenward Elmsley. And one immortal, if slightly inaccurate poem. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks, and when she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
And that's kind of the history of what happened in the house. I mean, there is a lot more.
There is, for sure.
Like, there was a lot of back and forth with Lizzie and the police, and there was even, Lizzie was kind of caught burning the dress she was wearing that day.
Yeah, she kind of burned evidence. She lied and told different stories to different people, that kind of thing. Very interesting.
But the thing is back then there was no, there's no DNA evidence. So you almost have to be caught red-handed. At least somebody would have had to have seen something.
Yeah.
And because she was, she's a rich kid, she kind of got away with murder. Because her social standing was so high. And I mean, don't hate me, people. I'm from the Northeast, but people with money up there are super bougie. And they kind of stick to social class. Even to this day, they still do that.
Right.
I can see this. I can definitely see this, where people are taking up for her, not even because they know her, just because she's rich.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, back then that's all you had.
Absolutely. You had social standings, and you had different classes, and people lived by that.
Yeah. Well, they would section themselves off in the neighborhoods. And you know what? I am the descendant of Irish immigrants.
Yeah.
So screw you, Lizzie. And my family's all, church Catholic, Lizzie. Yeah, I said it.
Oh.
Yeah, I said it.
Excuse me.
Hey, sometimes you just got to say what you got to say. This is my area. So yeah,
I think they would expect you to say it.
It is what it is. But this is where we're going to go ahead and take a break. And then there's actually a lot more about what's going on at the house. Now, I'm going to be honest before we get out of here and come back and all that. When we watch a lot of stuff, other than the people faking evidence, obviously, there's never really a lot that goes on here.
There isn't.
So I kind of went into this kind of with my mind already made up.
Okay.
But I did the research, And there's a lot more claims there than I've ever heard in any of these shows. So I don't know why they're not talking about more of this stuff.
Interesting.
Especially the people faking it, because it would help them, make up stories. But little side note for people, I used to my buddy actually lived in the house behind this house, and I used to hang out there.
I remember you telling me that.
And
crazy.
I used to be able to sit up there because the way the houses work in New England are, well, not all of them, but a lot of them, the old houses, especially in places like Fall River, they're split up by floors. So to be a 3 or 4 story house, because back in the day, these were rich people homes.
Yeah.
But now they're apartments, and they're set up by floors, and they'll section each one of them off, and each floor is an apartment, and it has everything. You get a kitchens, bathrooms, bedrooms.
So crazy to me. So crazy.
But my buddy and his girlfriend lived I'm assuming what maybe once was the attic or something. And it was cool. I loved it because it had some very interesting angles, in the rooms, because
those upper floor rooms tend to be really cool.
So it was pretty cool. But I used to, when we'd hang out there, I would just stare down because I knew what the house was.
Right.
So it was I want to, and even back then, people talked about it being haunted. And I would just stare at it. I don't have any cool stories to tell anybody about I saw anything, because I haven't. But it was just a very interesting moment, that I can talk about now. I used to be able to stare at the Lizzie Borden house, and this was before it became popular.
Right.
It was popular there, but it hadn't really come into the mainstream of paranormal or anything at that time.
Yeah.
So just just a little something thrown out there. But
a little something.
We are gonna have to take an ad break. So yeah.
And now, Boost Crew, back to the episode.
All right, so now that somebody's probably tried to tell you or sell you something that I don't agree with, what's going to happen.
The ads are weird, man. They're so weird.
But we don't know. All right, so we don't know what the ads are, right? And on top of that, we might. All right, I'll just tell people how it works. You can monetize your show and allow ads to be in, which we do, because any little bit helps, because believe it or not, we have to pay to put our show out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't just happen for free. We have to pay a service.
Equipment for
Well, no, I mean just putting it out in general.
No,
I'm not even talking about equipment. I'm talking about the website, to just get it out there. So any little bit helps, but there's it'll ask you, I don't know why anybody wants to know this, but whatever, I'm talking about it. It'll ask you what you'll allow. And I just kind of clicked everything because I feel our listeners are smart people. So they'll just be yeah, whatever, this isn't for me. I don't care. But what I had found out from other people that I know that listen to our show, friends of mine, is that they don't get the same ads I get. So they're tailored for where you are.
Right. Different areas get different, certain specific things. And it's weird.
You have your own political views. If you ever hear a political ad on here, just tune out. I don't care. We're not political people, so we just want their change. That's all. We just want their change.
They just want their pennies. That's it.
We just need that sweet 99-cent sweet tea money. So it is what it is. McDonald's sweet tea, man, 99 cents. Is it still 99 cents?
Probably not.
I don't leave the house much. But anyways, let's get back. It was definitely 99 cents when I used to stare down at it from my buddy's house. I'm just saying.
Stare at the Lizzie Borden house.
Yeah. But then again, you could also get a double cheeseburger for $1 back then.
Yeah, they kind of did away with the dollar menu.
Yeah.
Anyways,
let's get back to Lizzie Borden, who didn't ever eat off the dollar menu.
Okay, let's go.
Questions regarding the Lizzie Borden house's haunted history have been a topic since 1892. We all know the story of how she allegedly took an axe and bludgeoned her father and stepmother to death. One of the most haunted places in Massachusetts, the Lizzie Borden house is also considered one of the most haunted places in the world. Located on 2nd Street in Fall River, this house might seem like a nice, normal family home. But in August of 1892, the Lizzie Borden house turned into a house of horrors with a double homicide. Among the different aspects of paranormal activity people have experienced in here include doors opening and closing on their own, apparitions, and being touched. There's also an overall spooky feeling people get when inside the house. As it's been well over 100 years since the murder, there is quite a bit of Lizzie Borden House haunted history.
Former owners, the McGinns, and present-day owners of this stately yet plain home have had some experiences. Lights with minds of their own, turning on and off. The owners have been in rooms, and in front of them, wall switches would flick on their own and turn on the lights. When no one is upstairs, on the second and third floors, the McGinns and their staff hear doors open and close, followed by footsteps. Shadow people have also been seen, especially on the staircase going down to the main hallway and walking into other rooms of the house. Owners of the home have often reported seeing shadow people move around different parts of the house. Sometimes, staff and guests claim to feel someone brush against them on the stairs and in various parts of the home. Disembodied voices have been heard as well. Owner Leanne Wilbur once felt the cold touch of a finger run down her back. When she quickly turned around, no one was visible. The spirit of Mr. Andrew Borden is believed to still be in the home. Death hasn't given him any redeeming virtues. He has occasionally tried to bully the staff, but stops when they confront him about his behavior. His spirit is believed to still be seething that his life was so brutally taken from him. They say that he has found some comfort that the living have been bringing things to light. It is thought that he enjoys watching the tours and paranormal investigations in the home and has started to answer EVP questions. He goes about his business, what he used to do while alive. There's also the spirit of Miss Abby Borden. She mourns her death and regrets marrying Andrew. Poignant cries are allegedly heard in the room where she was killed, now called the John Morse Room. Staff say that she loves to take a rest on the bed in the John Morse Room. An indention of a body on the room's bed was discovered by a staff member, like someone had just laid on top of it, 1 month after renovations and refurnishing the home was complete. An older woman with gray hair has allegedly been seen happily puttering around the home, busy with her affairs. If she couldn't enjoy herself here while alive, it seems now she can in her afterlife. But Mr. and Mrs. Borden aren't the only otherworldly spirits believed to be in the home. An apparition of a woman, who people claim looks like Lizzie, has been seen down in the basement, looking around, perhaps fervently, being sure that she's disposed of all the evidence. It is also believed her spirit spends most of her time at her refuge, Maplecroft. People also say that they've seen the ghost of Bridget Sullivan in the home. It is believed she is still trying to say what really happened, the truth. An EVP recording captured by D. Agostino, horrified scream,
"Man, come quick!"
The spirits of 2 children have also been allegedly seen at the Borden House. Staff claim they once lived here and died too early. Both spirits have been reported being seen by the living in various parts of the house. They have even been heard playing marbles. And if all that isn't enough, the spirit of Maggie's cat has even been claimed to have been spotted in the house. A disembodied cat's meow has been heard by visitors and staff. The cat is still friendly and rubs up against people it likes in the second and third floor bedrooms. Cold spots are another commonly reported occurrence that seems to happen in Maggie's room. The apparition of a woman dressed in maid's clothes is also reported to be seen doing her chores around the house.
The owners and guests have had many personal experiences with the resident spirits. A lot of evidence has also been caught by various paranormal investigators. Photos of misty human forms have been taken in the living room, where Andrew Borden was hacked to death. In 2007, a paranormal group member saw with her own eyes the moving of a camera, turning toward them the second time it happened. EVPs have been caught on recording devices. EVPs of the spirits of Lizzie and Bridget, Maggie Sullivan, were believed to be caught on digital recorders. On an episode of Ghost Lab, the investigators got an interesting EVP. When asked the question, "Did Lizzie kill you for money?" a male voice answered,
"You got that right."
In a YouTube video, what looks like the apparition of Andrew Borden is pointed out in a crime scene photo, located on the far left, looking at his own body. A few investigators had commented that they thought much darker energy inhabited the house long before the murders were committed and directed the murders of Andrew and Abby. This theory rests upon an event in Borden's recent past. Mr. Borden's uncle lived next door with his wife and 3 small children. His wife, Andrew Borden's aunt, attempted to drown their 3 children in the well. One of the children survived, but in the interim, the mother went into the cellar and slit her throat with a straight-edge razor and bled to death. Since the properties were so close together, the theory about pre-existing dark energy emerged and has made its way into several recent investigations of the property.
The Borden murders were gruesome, even by today's standards, and have attracted ghost hunters worldwide, including leading popular paranormal reality TV shows like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Towns, Dead Files, Ghost Adventures, and Kindred Spirits. Even the church where Lizzie was said to have taught Sunday school, the Central Congregational Church of Fall River, is believed to harbor her spirit from time to time. The pastor from that church escorted Lizzie from the jail to the courthouse each day of the trial, and that is where a recent EVP revealed that Lizzie felt
Safe.
According to the show Dead Files' Amy Allen, Lizzie and her sister Emma had an incestuous relationship with each other, including their father, of which the mother was aware but did nothing. So a plan was created to kill both parents. Mrs. Borden would be killed first, so her inheritance would pass to the father. Then, the father would be murdered, and his inheritance would be passed to Emma, the oldest daughter. Emma would then split the estate with Lizzie, which, in real life, she did. Neither sister ever married. Whether this is just a psychic rumor or fact remains to be seen. Regardless, the events unfolded similarly enough to warrant more investigations over 100 years later.
Today, the House of Horrors has been turned into a bed and breakfast and bears the name of the murder's main suspect, Lizzie herself. The owners have carefully restored the home to how it looked on that bloody day in 1892, and you'd never know it's allegedly one of the 5 most haunted locations in Massachusetts as you walk through the door. Many pieces of the murder and trial are still on display at the Fall River Historical Society. They have the couch that Andrew Borden slept on when he died, as well as the handleless hatchet that was found in the basement. The museum has tons of artifacts from the murders. And while this may seem dark, the historian and macabre lovers are usually thrilled that these artifacts have been preserved. Just a few months after her acquittal, Lizzie bought a house where she lived until her death in 1927. What is truly interesting is that the house went up for sale in 2020. Lizzie herself named the house Maplecroft. The owners, Donald Woods and Leanne Wilbur, also owned the murder house, now known as Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast. Truly, the house is spectacular and beautiful. The owners intended to open up a second bed and breakfast, but COVID-19 was the nail in the coffin for that dream. You have to wonder, though, if there's actual paranormal activity tied with this location as well. In reality, I suppose we'll never know, unless someone with a paranormal business in mind ends up purchasing the house. Time will eventually reveal the answers to our curiosities once and for all. And that is the gist. That's pretty much it about the Lizzie Borden house. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that, of course, we've all heard before.
Yep.
But then there was a lot of stuff in there that I had never heard before. I mean, I guess I knew that nobody ever really talks about I don't ever remember hearing about a cat.
No, I don't think I've ever heard about a cat
or
here.
anything happening in the sister's room. It's always just usually Abby and Andrew, and that's it. That's all you ever hear about.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it's centered around the living room where the murders took place.
In the bedroom, and in the bedroom, the parents' bedroom.
Yes.
So I've heard those a million times, but there's just things that I didn't know. I don't ever remember hearing about light switches turning on and off and stuff, which, I mean, we've heard in other stories, but I just don't ever remember hearing that about it here.
Yeah.
Now, guess what? I was actually able to find EVPs.
Oh, go figure. This place? No way.
So we're going to queue up, I think, some EVPs. This first one is called Lizzie Borden EVP Session. It says biography. I'll read the description. Haunted Encounters, also known as Haunted Encounters Face to Face, is an American paranormal television series that premiered on December 1st, 2012 on the Biography Channel. The program features a paranormal investigation team, the Paranormal Syndicate, that investigates haunted hotspots that are the list of reportedly haunted locations and gather evidence to prove that it's haunted. And this is all out of date, so I'm not going to read the rest. But so this is from a TV show. I don't think I've ever heard of this one.
I haven't either.
But it should be interesting.
Yeah.
So
I'm super excited for EVPs.
Well,
It's been a while.
There's more. So we'll probably play maybe 3 or 4.
Okay.
So let's see what this one has to say.
Back upstairs, Jordan begins to play back Pandora.
Your story out. No one was ever convicted for yours of Andrew's murders. You can tell the world what happened. All we need you to do is talk. Who killed you?
I'm getting a response, an intelligent response that says, Lizzie Borden. I'm friggin' scared.
You can tell the world what happened. All we need you to do is talk. Who killed you? Who killed you? Abby, please, can you pull the sheet down for me?
There is something yelling on here. I don't know if it's Abby, who it is, but it sounds like they're kind of pissed. I was already scared enough being up here alone, having to talk to these people. Now that there's confirmation someone's yelling at me, my adrenaline is...
So, I mean, I hear it. I do hear it.
I do hear it. Especially the Lizzie Borden.
I do
that
not.
They say.
I hate that there's background music going on.
Yes, I agree.
It is super annoying.
You can definitely hear a whisper, and then there's 100% a scream or like a yell after that.
I mean, there's some kind of noise going on. But with the music going, it is super hard to really understand what it's saying.
Absolutely. I like just listening to that. If they weren't explaining it on there, because like it's a TV show, I couldn't have told you what that said.
Yeah, it's pretty. This is where we're shows. Okay, so like we used to be very big fans of Destination Fear.
Yes.
But they do this a lot. And I've noticed when we've played clips from them that it's a problem now, too, is like they put so much music in the background that it's hard to really hear what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Like to actually hear what the words are saying.
Yeah. And it makes it makes something that's hard to hear, or that's already hard to hear, way harder to hear than it really needs to be.
Yeah, every time I listen to EVPs, I like smush my headphones into my
You
ears,
have to.
And like I try so hard to listen, but it's hard, and they make it even harder, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it does. I found another video. It says evidence update, new EVP at the Lizzie Borden House, and this is from. What is their channel? Mass Hauntings. Oh, they're from Massachusetts.
Oh, Mass Hauntings.
And this is
from Massachusetts.
And this is just from 2 years ago. It says, as we prepare for our next episode, we decided to revisit all our EVP files from our Lizzie Borden investigation with fresh ears to see if we missed anything, and we did.
Ooh.
It says, I'm sitting in the room where Andrew Borden was murdered. Our investigator Daniel asked who it was that scratched Owen and if he took money off of Andrew's dresser. The EVP is faint and needed some enhancing, but it's there. Strangely, it was not captured on the camera, debunking someone in the room whispering, adding more credibility. The following question asked if the maid, Bridget Sullivan, was in the basement with the crew as Owen was scratched. The EMF detector Owen was holding went off immediately, which the time of it's written really badly, which at the time of not hearing the EVP had no meaning. I don't know what that means, but okay. But with this EVP and EMF detector, we can now say that someone was attempting to communicate with us in the chat. It goes on to, it's just one more line. I guess I'll read it. Why'd they have to put so much? It says Class B, so it's not a Class A, so I'm not expecting it to be super great.
Right.
This type of EVP is of somewhat lower quality and clarity than a Class A EVP, but still very audible, which I do respect, though, that they're not just like, this is a Class A EVP.
Absolutely, because you hear that way too often.
Yeah, and they're always crappy. Now, Class B EVPs often do need some amount of enhancement or amplification to be heard clearer. The voice may not be clear enough to be totally understood, or there may be disagreements as to what it's saying. Class EVPs are often not in direct response to a question. Jeez. Okay.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. So let's see what this one sounds like. It's not very long.
Did anybody here scratch Owen? If anybody did he take money from Andrew's dresser? If anybody did he take money from Andrew's dresser? Bridget, were you down in the basement with us and scratched Owen? What was that? What was that reading?
That was the EMF.
Yeah, but what was the reading on that?
It was like a 6 and then dropped.
Okay, so there's an EVP there. And it is how they said it was. It was hard to hear.
I don't know.
You used to be so all like in.
It just sounded like something like script, like I can do it on our microphones. Like,
Yeah. Oh no, it's debunkable. It's 100% debunkable. I just said I could hear something, and because I read the screen, I now think it's what they said it says, which is
see, I didn't see the screen.
It's supposedly it says that was him.
That was him.
Yeah, I mean, and
I didn't hear anything.
It's so hard. It's so hard to. It's just difficult to get on board with. The more we've done this show, I've said this before, the more I fall into the skeptic category.
Honestly,
Or no. Let me rephrase. I don't fall more into the skeptic category. I just tend to believe a lot less of what I see and hear on the internet now.
honestly, I think I'm with you. That for me, it kind of hurts. I don't know. It kind of hurts.
Because you used to be so in, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, eh?
All right, we're going to do one more. And this is as bad as when I said it. They're scooting.
Oh, they scoot down the road over there.
They're scooting.
Good Lord.
But we're going to do one more. And this is from a YouTube channel called Haunted AF. And
I like the name.
this is almost 2 minutes long. It's two young ladies talking. This says the ghostly voices from the Lizzie Borden house. Rebecca and Julie talked to Danny, a.k.a. the Queen of Halloween. I don't know who that is. Who told them some incredible stories about her time in the Lizzie Borden house. Danny sent some EVPs, or ghost voices, that she recorded while she was there, and they're amazing. Listen to them, then check out the rest of the episode. I think this is almost like a podcast, so go check them out. It's called Haunted AF. We can see how it is. We're going to get a little clip in what these ladies are doing.
Cool. I like that.
So let's see what this is about.
And welcome to Haunted AF. This is the podcast that's all about real life ghost stories told by the people who experience them. We are your hosts. I'm Julie Fisk.
I'm Rebecca Black.
We talked to Danny, who's also known as the Queen of Halloween. You need to find her on Facebook.
Yes.
But she sent some EVPs, so you have to listen very closely.
Mm-hmm.
Here is Danny's first one that came from the Lizzie Borden house.
You died in 1892.
Okay, you just barely hear it right there. Yes. Ziggy, can you play that again?
You died in 1892.
Yes. So then here is the second one again. You have to listen very, very carefully. And this is Danny in the Lizzie Borden house. Okay, that one you can barely hear.
Yeah, I hear something, but I'm not sure what it's saying.
So Danny says, and it sounds like a male voice
Yes.
whispering to me this time. She says he's saying the downstairs parlor, and it's right there at the very end, very soft. So Ziggy, can you play it again?
I heard it that time. Oh my gosh. Like clear as day heard it.
So here's a final one, and this is not at the Lizzie Borden house. This is just her favorite one. Danny says that she was in a room and that there was an attic, and she was too scared to go up into the attic by herself. So she was kind of asking questions up into the attic. And here is the audio. Do you hear it?
I heard that.
Yes.
So come up here. And that also sounds like a lower male voice.
Right. So think about it. If she is pointing that to an attic.
Yeah.
I just got chills.
Oh my God.
Okay, Ziggy, play it one more time.
Right there. Come up here.
Okay. They're pretty wild. But look. They're also, that's like 4 years. That was like 4 years ago. So it was before, we all started learning that a lot of this was really fake. I mean, we knew some of it was, but the majority.
Okay, as for those EVPs.
But it's, okay, but like the girl in the very first one, right? She was like, I heard it. But then when the girl told her what she said, she's like, I hear it. I hear it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that's why, like, when we do these, I like to, like, not let you see. So I can be like, what do you think it says? Because then you're influenced. It's a matrix. It's pareidolia.
Yeah. Well, that first one was a definite yes. I heard that.
It is clear.
No problem. But that second one, I don't know.
Okay, but we're just seeing the EVP. This is why the entirety of the investigation is important, right?
Agreed.
We don't know who's in the room. we can't see anything.
Mhm.
We don't know if there was somebody else there speaking.
Right.
So I do hear them as well. They are very clear, but there's less, there's just less credibility to it without knowing more.
Mm-hmm.
But they are good EVPs. They are good. So there are a lot more out there. Search the internet, and if you like that high energy giggly, go check them out. Haunted AF. I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody out there's gonna like them, right?
Heck yeah, talking about paranormal stuff.
It's the same. Like, this is what we do.
Yeah, no.
That's what we do. So we are at the portion of the show where I'm gonna need to ask you an important question that could almost destroy the fabric of reality for a lot of people.
Oh my God.
The credibility of New Englanders worldwide is hanging in the balance and hanging by a thread, and what you may say next. So I have to ask you, Megan.
Is it real?
Is the Lizzie Borden house really haunted?
This is a hard one for me. I want to say yes.
Okay.
However, I feel like a lot of the things we've seen, heard, read are maybe attributed to it's the Lizzie Borden house and the fame that comes along with that. We've seen investigations like on TV, and, we didn't go over specifics or anything on the show, but there's just, every time we've watched them, there's not a whole lot. And I understand, like, paranormal doesn't happen all the time, and it's not 100%, and you're not guaranteed to get anything. Like, we talk about that all the time.
Mm.
But I think the fame of what happened there is the reason that this is all around. So I think I'm going to say no.
Oh, I honestly thought you were just gearing up to say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going to say no.
Okay.
So what about you, babe?
You threw me off. And as a New Englander, I feel it is my dude. No, it's not haunted. I don't really believe it's haunted.
Okay.
I don't. And but I have a reason. And the reason is if the story would have just stayed at the Lizzie Borden house, I'd probably be like, maybe. But the fact that they're like, well, we see her here and we also see her there and we see her. What is she just traveling town?
Right.
I think it's...
That's a good point.
I remember the nursery rhyme from growing up. I never heard anybody talk about the house being haunted. And it seems like when whoever bought the house and turned it into a bed and breakfast, I keep wanting to say bread and breakfast.
He did it like 4 times.
Yeah.
You won't hear it editing.
I'll edit it out. But it seems like when they did that, they really ramped up the idea of a haunting to, because people will want to stay there.
Yeah, people pay good money for that.
So maybe something has been caught there from time to time, but I don't know. I've been there. I've looked at it. I've stared at it in the middle of the night. I've never seen anything, never heard anything. I don't know anybody personally. And I had friends who lived right by it. I don't know anybody who's ever told me, I've seen something, I've heard something. Nobody.
Like even going to the house next door.
Nobody.
Going to the church.
Nobody. Like I've never met anybody who told me that the Lizzie Borden house was actually haunted. I've had more people tell me it's not. So, it's going to go, some people are going to believe, some people aren't. But, like, I've been right next door. I've stared into the windows at night, like not like a creeper, but, like from another window, just looking at it because I know what it is. And, people get a creepy feeling there because you know the story before you go in there. So, of course, you're going to feel uneasy. You're going into a house where people were slaughtered. But, to be honest with you, people have died in almost every home across America at this point. So it's just that feeling you get when you know something bad happens somewhere. It's like, I don't know. You just know what I'm talking about. Something horrific happened in an area, and when you look at it, like you're not looking at it, but you know it happened. So you get get creeped out.
Yeah, you get like an ominous feeling about it because you do know the history and like the story behind it.
Exactly. So, unfortunately, I kind of already knew how I felt coming into this. I did learn that there were more claims. And again, like we always say, just because we say no, I mean, it's just what our opinion is. We don't know. We could be wrong, and we're open to being wrong. That's fine. But from what I know, from what you think, it's just, it's just a good story. I mean, it's a tragic story, but it's
100%
just a good ghost story. You know,
I came into this like full on ready to be like, yeah, duh, it's a Lizzie Borden house. But I don't know, as we read, and it's just like you said, I feel like people like give themselves a feeling knowing the story before they even go in. So, well,
yeah, and it's a good business model. A lot of places sell tickets because it might be haunted. So,
more money.
That's where we are. And where can they find us?
They can find us on Instagram at forthebooze_podcast and on Facebook at forthebooze.
You can also find us on Twitter at forthebooze. You can find us over at YouTube at forthebooze. And very soon now, you will be able to go over and watch us and are being ridiculous talking about all kinds of paranormal stuff. I think we're going to start off. We're gonna react to some ghost adventures. We started it on the show. Yeah. You might as well start it over there too.
Yeah.
So if you have suggestions out there of stuff you want us to like watch on the channel, let us know and we'll do it. And also you can find us over on TikTok at For the Booze, anywhere. And at this point in time, just about anywhere.
Yes.
We're on basically everything. Threads. I'm even on Threads now. So, and don't forget, forthebooze12@gmail.com. If you have a listener story, we're never going to stop asking. And also, if you have a suggestion for the podcast or the channel now, reach out to us there. Or if you just want to get in touch with us.
And say hi.
Yeah, forthebooze12@gmail.com.
That's right. And we miss the listener stories so very much. We really, really do.
We do. And one more thing. What do they need to do?
Rate and review. Rate and review.
We need them. We need
do.
them. To those of you who have, thank you so much.
Of course.
And
you guys are the best.
To those of you who are thinking about it, don't think about it. Just do it. It takes no time.
And it's free.
And also, don't forget, if you would like to help support the show, join our Patreon. Go over there. It's, of course, For the Booze. And a big shout out to Joe Mattern and Teresa O'Donnell for helping us be ridiculous week in and week out.
That's right. Thank you guys
for caring
so much.
For caring what our non-professional opinions are. So
thank you guys for, being here with us, everybody.
That's right. And even if you're just listening out there, you know what? You're still supporting. We love you too. So
absolutely.
I guess this is where we're going to take it out this week.
I think so.
All right.
Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.
I'm going to go hide all the sharp objects in the house now.